The Fuji X-Pro 2 is without a doubt has been one of my most used cameras over the last couple of years. I've taken it everywhere with me around the world, Taiwan, Italy, Texas, you name it. It is hands down one of my most favorite cameras I've ever used. With the rise of film prices, I find myself resorting to digital. I've been able to figure out a workflow that mimics the film look close enough. It will never be exactly the same, but for 90% of the look, it saves so much money. I love this camera so much because it's small, portable, and sexy. I really dislike shooting with big cameras because they're really intrusive, and when they're just big and heavy, I just don't want to bother taking it out. But because of its size, I take it with me everywhere I go. This camera is beautiful. I just love looking at it. It's so sleek. I think the appearance of a camera is important, especially since it plays a factor in enticing a photographer to pick up a camera or not. This camera does that for me. I love how refined it looks and how it looks so similar to film cameras. I get a lot of people asking if it's a film camera. Not only that, but this thing is solid. It's built really well. It's made out of magnesium alloy, so it's pretty durable. Weather sealing, dual card slots, and interchangeable lenses. This camera packs a punch in its small form factor. 24 megapixels, which, by the way, is very much plenty, has a hybrid viewfinder, film simulations, and just beautiful, beautiful colors. I don't use film recipes since I prefer to shoot in RAW, but I do like using some of the film simulations as a preset when I'm editing in Lightroom. Now, this camera is older. It's been 8 years since it was first released in 2016, and it's not the fastest camera out there, and it's pretty terrible in low light, and I don't even bother with video. It's purely my stills camera. This is my travel camera, my street photography camera, and my everyday camera, and most of the time I'm only shooting with a 23mm lens on here. It's charming, it's portable, and it produces great images. I've spent so long shooting with this camera that now it feels like an extension of me, and whenever I'm out shooting in the streets, people don't suspect it, and that's always helpful because I don't want to be noticed out on the streets. The autofocus is kind of slow on this, and I do wish it had a larger battery. A full day of traveling and shooting will get me through 3 to 4 batteries, which is pretty absurd. But otherwise, a single battery will last me long enough for the days where I'm just out and about my house and not using it very heavily. I think the great thing about shooting all the cameras is the fact that we don't need to obsess over the latest specs. When it already has everything you need to take great photos, there's no need for more. Hell, people were taking great photos over 50 years ago on fully manual cameras and slow speed films. It was much harder to take photos then. Our camera technology has gotten so good that it's reached a point where improvements are no longer significant. And somewhere along the way, we lost our intentionality when taking photos because there are no consequences in taking more. But cameras like this, the X-Pro 2, and it's not limited to this camera, cameras that have a limitation tend to make the experience more rich. The interactive dials, the aperture ring, and, for this lens, a fixed focal length. This camera is terrible in low light, but what can we do? We can put it on a tripod, take long exposures like we used to years ago, and in the end you'll end up having a clearer photo with less grain and noise instead of just bumping up the ISO level. It's really all about knowing your cameras anyways, knowing the limitations, how to use the settings, and using that to get the most out of it. To be honest, we have it easy. We tend to spend so much of that time obsessing over gear instead of using that time to go out and actually make photos. Anyways, I'd love to show you some of my favorite photos that I've taken on this camera. Isn't perfect, and it obviously needs some areas where it needs updating, but it gets the job done and it does it really well. It is a fun camera when you can't afford to shoot film, and it is a fun camera when you want to take a break from those large, clunky camera equipment. And yeah, that's why this camera has a special place in my heart.